already, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Inside the Dam podcast, brought to you by Papa John's. Be sure to check out their MSU special. It is a large two-topping pizza worth $7.99 with an MSU ID. It's not just for students, but anyone with a valid MSU ID. So be sure to check that out as well. We thank Admir and the gang for being able to support the MSU Broadcasting Department and supporting this podcast in general. Again, welcome to the Inside the Dam podcast. This is episode 7. This will be the last show for the 2022 fall semester. We will not be going live next week as the 24th annual KMSU auction will be taking place. We'll be getting ready to take on preparations for that main event. Be sure to check it out on KMSU TV on YouTube. And of course, we'll be able to provide links for that as well. But again, great show for you guys today. We're going to have another 3 awesome guests here joining us. Cayden White from men's wrestling. We'll have Khari Broadway with men's basketball. And then Jay Buchholz, who also has some Minot connections as well. He's from the men's hockey team. That being said here, folks, joining us from Marysville, Washington, sophomore on the men's wrestling team, Cayden White. Thank you for making some time for us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, really awesome to have you here, Cayden. And just kind of walk us through a little bit about yourself. How did your Minot State journey come to be? And just kind of start there.
Well, I'm originally from Marysville, Washington, and my senior year, I got in touch with the coaches here, and I went out on a visit in late November, loved it, and signed in December, and here I am now.
No, and we're very fortunate to have you here in Minot, like I said, and it's got to be a long distance, going from the northwest portion of the country to just little old Minot, North Dakota. Kind of talk us through a little bit about some of your high school career, maybe some of the moments that leading up to your college recruitment.
In the summer of maybe my junior year, or after my junior year, I went to Fargo for national championship.
Oh, really?
Freestyle, and I got in touch with the coaches through there. And after that, I just kept talking, and eventually I was able to go on a visit here. But after that, I won state championship my senior year in high school, and just from there, just continued on to here.
Talk about that awesome experience. It's just got to be a dream come true for a lot of student athletes in high school or even in college. What was that like?
It was a great experience. Just being here has been so far has been a great experience, and I guess I would say the wrestling aspect, I've had some adversities, and just pushing through those and just finishing my career here is going to be great.
Yeah, and like I said, very lucky that you're here with us and being able to compete for the Beavers, Roll Beavs, as always. But just talk about some of your resume a little bit. You're a 2020 Scholar Athlete of the Year in high school. You also played a bunch of other sports. Kind of walk us through some of your past experiences.
Yeah, school has always been first for me, and academics, and I have a passion for that. And I would say in high school I was very competitive. I started out, I had some injuries in football, so I was bouncing back through football and cross country, but I learned from both. And then I also just wrestled every year. I also played golf, but I just bounced around in sports, but stuck with wrestling through it all.
No, that's really cool. And what really, obviously you were recruited, and colleges looked at you for wrestling, but what other reasons? Maybe just, was it the passion for it? Wrestling, it's a very long, grueling sport. Just walk us through kind of, the passion for it, and what really was the motivation for you to keep going? Obviously, college being a part of it.
Wrestling, I've always loved just the goal setting, trying to set goals and achieving them. Just a simple goal of just winning a match and that victory, just that feeling, it's just unbelievable. And I love it, and I chase for it every year. It's the same feeling, but it's just something I always look forward to. and when I'm practicing, just working towards that is something I always have in my head.
Yeah, as long as you have the passion, you have the drive, certainly. And yeah, that's some good stuff so far. And, just kind of, we'll start here on the mats. We'll get a little bit into the classroom, but from this past weekend, you guys competed against Saskatchewan and Jamestown in that giant Beaver Bash, which I thought was a really fun event. First of all, I'll ask you, what are your original thoughts of this Beaver Bash? It's kind of a first-time event, kind of. What do you think of the whole setup now that there's a women's wrestling team on campus?
I liked it a lot. I thought it was well organized with the teams. It was really cool for the fans. I think being able to watch 2 matches at once, it felt like there was barely any time where there was just someone not wrestling. And I think it's great that the women's program's been built up here. I have a sister who wrestles as well, and I think it's great that I think it's great that women's wrestling's growing, and it's great that we can wrestle side by side like that in a sporting event, and it's great for this college.
Yeah, I just saw a little graphic on Instagram. The whole country in the United States, it's got certain states that are shaded with fully sanctioned girls or women's wrestling, and then other states are shaded a different color, but it says women's wrestling finalizing in progress or whatever. It said something, but I saw it on Instagram from someone's feed, and I thought that was really cool to see the sport growing like that. And competing, like mentioned, in the Beaver Bash, everything's hectic, chaotic. There's a lot going on. But you yourself in particular, 2 wins by pin this weekend. Just kind of walk us through each one of your matches on an individual basis.
The first match, I had a great warm up in, and I just kind of just went out there and just took it to him. He's also I guess their school is mainly focused in freestyle, so folk style is a little different to them. And I just kind of on top, I noticed just how he bellied out, which is normal in freestyle, and I hit. I think I ran a bar on him, or a bar half, and just pinned him.
Just pinned him straight up. So you make a good point there with the different styles in wrestling. For those that don't know, I'm also kind of a little bit new to the sport as well. I mean, I've covered some of the games as a freelance sports reporter. Be sure to check out the Minus Sports podcast there, folks. But I've been to some matches, not really familiar with some of the styles, like you said, like the freestyle, folk style. Talk about that a little bit. Kind of describe for those that aren't aware.
Okay, folk style, I'd say, is more, you're on top, or top and bottom is a huge part of it, where you can ride someone out the entire period, whereas freestyle, you're on top for maybe 10 to 15 seconds, then you're back on your feet if you can't turn them. And the scoring can be a little bit in freestyle, where if you just show back exposure, it's 2 points, and it can be a quick match, really, or just 10-0, then it's over. And I think in folk styles, it's really just how hard you can ride. So I think riding is a huge factor in the majority of matches. They got the riding time, which is if you have over a minute riding time, a wrestler, at the end of the match, you'll get a point at the end of the match for that. And that's a huge difference. And, sometimes freestyle, you take someone to their back, it's 4 points. So just a takedown, and it's big scoring differences.
Yeah, and if, like you said, if the points can really add up, and they can go by fast for sure, like you said. And your record at 6-1 with 5 wins by pin this season at the 184-pound weight class. Kind of talk through us about some of your start to the season. How you've been feeling going in, and a little bit more on the success so far.
Last season I was at 174, so I went up a weight class. I feel great at 184. I feel fueled and a lot stronger. I put on some muscle since last year, and I think that's been a big factor in how I have prepared throughout the week. Just not having to cut as much or cut down as hard before weigh-ins. I feel well rested, and by the time it's tournament, I think I've focused more on my mental game going into tournaments or matches, just telling myself that I'm going to win this match right now and going out there and just taking it.
Always good to have a positive outlook on that. And hey, we're going to take it outside of the class. We're going to talk about outside of the mats, taking it towards the classroom. Talk to us a little bit about campus life, major. What's a day in the life look like for Cayden White off the mats?
Well, right now I'm a math major, so I'm just finishing up on some of my math courses, and then I'll
there you go.
Next semester, and then I'll be done with my math portion. But I'm gonna also do a double major in computer science, and so I spend a majority of my time in the math and computer science model hall, and I have a really big passion for school, but just working hard. It's similar with wrestling, just working and setting goals in the classroom. It's very similar, and it helps out a lot.
Yeah, and you said goals right there. We're just about out of time here. Talk about some of your expectations for yourself on the mat, along with a team basis and expectations also in the classroom. What do you hope to get out of here at Minot State University as your time goes along?
Well, long-term goals, I would like to eventually become an NCAA champion or at least an All-American, and I think that's a very realistic goal. And I think as a team, just for this year, I think setting a goal of we've set a goal of having a winning record in the conference and placing top four at regionals, and I think we can do that. I think we have a great team, and we have just a great intensity going into duels this year. And in the classroom, I would say, I would say I want to be academic All-American again, which I've think is a really realistic goal, and I'm going to work towards it.
Hey, shoot for the stars, man. Those are very realistic expectations, certainly way bigger than mine currently, but yeah, hey, man, that's lots of good goals to achieve, shoot for, and yeah, we wish you all the best, and hopefully you are able to reach those heights.
Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you again, Cayden. Again, there you have it, folks. That was Cayden White, men's wrestler, sophomore from Marysville, Washington, looking to be an All-American here pretty soon. We're going to take a quick break here, guys. Real quick note, again, the Inside the Dam podcast is brought to you by Papa John's. Be sure to check out their MSU special. It is a large 2-topping pizza for $7.99 if you show your MSU ID. It is not just for students. It is anyone with a valid ID. We thank Admir and the gang for supporting the Inside the Dam podcast and the MSU Broadcasting Department. A quick note for you guys. Again, I am your host, Cole Clementich. I am riding solo tonight, and we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, Khari Broadway, a member of the men's basketball team, we're going to get a good look on him and some insight that he can provide on the team. Don't go anywhere. You're watching or listening to the Inside the Dam podcast. We'll be back after this quick break. Alrighty, welcome back to the Instagram podcast. Once again, brought to you by Papa John's. Be sure to check out their MSU special, a large 2-topping pizza, as mentioned, $7.99 if you show as promised, like I said before in the first segment, guys, I'm Cole Clementich, your host for the Inside the Dam podcast tonight. This is the last episode we are doing this semester until we go into the 2023 spring semester. We'll start kind of a month into the classes. We'll see how it goes, but this is the last episode of the 2022 fall semester, but we will be back for the next one after that. And like I said here, folks, we're now joined by a member of the MSU men's basketball team, a junior guard from Brooklyn Center, Minnesota. Khari Broadway joins us after a quick weekend slate of games. Khari, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. Appreciate you having me.
Yes, we are very fortunate to have you on here. Like I said, the Inside the Dam podcast, being able to shed some light on some student athletes and coaches here on campus. So, as mentioned, you are a junior guard from Brooklyn Center, Minnesota. Kind of walk us through some of your high school life. Obviously, you didn't start right away at Minot State, but talk about a little bit on your recruiting process. What's your story and how you got to be here at Minot State University as well?
In high school, I started 8th grade. I went in 8th grade and played JV at first. And then throughout the year, I went up to varsity. And then ever since then, I was just playing varsity basketball in high school. It was a winning program at Park Center. I learned a lot of things, from players to coaches and everything like that. The recruiting process at first, when I was a senior, it was kind of slow at first. But then, I got a lot of advice from a lot of higher up people that, mentors and stuff that, helped me out and just be patient, the right school is gonna come type of thing. And, so I just listened to them, was being patient, and then NDSCS, they ended up offering me, and then it just really felt like home there. And then it just really felt like a no-brainer, really. So went there, played 3 years there. My second year there, I was able to get be an All-American there. So and then third year there, we had the best record of being I think it was 31-2 around there. So yeah. So I mean, been around winning programs pretty much my whole life. So yeah, I just want to come here and do what I've always been doing.
No, that's very good stuff. I mean, I've heard a bit of NDSCS. They like to put a little bit of time in their athletics, not just for basketball, but for all teams. Kind of walk us through, that add on to a little bit of that winning mentality. What are some things that you've heard, from people? What are some things of advice, words of wisdom? What have some former coaches or other higher up people, like you said, what have they taught you in this whole process?
Really, what people have taught me and what I've learned always is, just always let the game come to you. No matter if your game is, if you're not doing good at first, just always let the game come to you. So that's what I always kept in my mind since I was a kid, because there was times when I was younger I would get frustrated at myself because things weren't going right. But once I heard those simple words, that made me just have that just stamped in my head, just to always let the game come to you. And then once I stamped that in my head, it just always just was, I'm gonna do what I do best. I'm always just come and try to win, just so really just that simple quote right there just helped me out through all my years of high school to JUCO to even now. So, I always want to have a chip on my shoulder no matter where I'm at.
And you've kind of used that to your advantage. Talk about your rise up when playing for the NDSCS program, and kind of how did Minot State get to be to the point now where you were good enough to play Division II, and obviously everyone's all high on themselves, and but just talk about your rise at NDSCS that led to Minot State.
Really, when I first went there, there was a lot of guys from Minnesota already there, so I already had that connection with team. So I mean, coming in there, trying to figure where like what spot I'm gonna be at, how am I gonna fit into the system. It really just helped me out because I come into a situation and I try to be the best that I can be, and I'm always play my game. But the guys, they always help me out. If I had questions, they had an answer, and it's kind of like that in Minot. I got Ben Bowl, I got Cam Dunphy. Those are guys that I can just ask a question and then they have an answer no matter what it is. So I mean, just coming from NDSCS, with the guys that were there at first, it kind of branded me, and just still being that leader, and picking up from the older guys and stuff, and so me myself, when I came here, like I'm still able to help out the younger guys, even if I don't really know the system as well as the people that's already here, but still I can have a valuable input on the game.
Absolutely. And you now find yourself at a quality program at Minot State University. The men's team was in the conference tournament last year, unfortunately lost into the play-in game against the Southwest Minnesota State Mustangs. But just talk about your role so far as a junior guard, and you kind of touched on it a little bit, but what's it like working with some of the guys, some of the other guards? Like you said, Ben Bowl is one of those 3-and-D guys, as he mentioned last week. Cam Dunphy, he's been scoring guard as well. What's it like being able to work with such high-quality guys?
It's great, actually, because both of those guys has different perspectives on the game, so that's the good thing. Both of them aren't saying the same thing, so that's why it's like, I try to pick their brains every day I can. So just working with them is great, because they help me out. Like Ben, he's a defensive guy, so he helps me out on the defensive side. Cam, he's a scoring guard, so he helps me out on different ways to find my shot and things like that. So it's a good dynamic right there. So yeah, I really like playing with those guys for sure.
And also talking about Coach Merkin as well. He's not only a great coach, but a great life mentor, great teacher. What has he meant to you so far in this first couple games here with the Beavers?
Merkin, he's a great coach. He always wants me to just, play my game, and he's just, one word to really describe him is just a guy that encourages everybody. He never wants to limit somebody on their game or anything like that. If he knows you can do something, he's gonna ask for it, and he's gonna expect you to do that. And he always, he wants to hold me at a higher standard, because I told him that I want to be, one of the leaders on the team, and be that guy where, you ask me to do something and I'll bring it. So. He's a good coach. He's a very smart coach. That's probably one of the smartest coaches I've played for by far. But yeah, he's a great coach to play for.
Yeah, and he's got that long tenure at Minot State as well, got that going for him as well. We're going to take this off the court a little bit. So your first semester here at Minot State as a transfer from a JUCO, what's the first experience like? What was your first reaction getting into Minot and getting on campus, and what really stood out to you so far? And talk a little bit about some campus life here.
First thing is that I realized is just the size of it. I mean, coming from my JUCO, Wappington, North Dakota, it's a small town, North Dakota, 3 hours from my home. Coming from there, it's just like, this is like it's like Minneapolis compared to Wappington. So I mean, that's probably the main thing that stood out to me. The classes, they're great to be in. They're not just, you're just not just sitting there. The teachers have you interacting with other students. So classes are fun. So, it's a real nice school to be at. And, I'm picking up a lot of different ways on, studying and stuff like that. So
Are there any classes that you enjoy so far? What are some things that you are kind of learning on at the moment?
I'm actually majoring in corporate fitness. One of the classes that kind of caught me off guard that I'm doing right now is just a yoga class, and we're just doing just straight yoga. So I mean, just being in that class is just figuring out ways to stretch out your body, and that's something that I've never really done. Really, is just like just really just stretched and everything. But being in that class just taught me just be like, all right, you need to take care of your body, even if you're off the court at all times, because you don't want that wear and tear to come and hit you out of nowhere. So I've been really taking care of my body just from being in that class.
Yeah, and you just pointed out some of the off the court classes or off the court stuff and taking classes that help you to take care of your body. That's an important thing. Sometimes we can kind of lose track. Some athletes may lose track or not, whatever it could be. But yeah, it's very important, I'd say. Yeah. So you make a great point there to just keep an eye on yourself and make sure tip top shape. Obviously, sure. Even when not practicing or having games, but. Yeah, so you're leading the team, averaging with 15 points per game coming off the bench. Just kind of talk about your expectations for yourself, for the team, and going forward here at Minot State as you embark on your first completed semester at Minot State.
One thing that I hold myself to is just always coming in and just being that energy guy, and just always bringing defense. That's what I pride myself on. And, if my game if I'm not hitting shots, I have something to fall back on. It's just, being that guy to get a stop or get a steal, or something like that. So I pride myself on that. And, what I expect from the team is, since I came here, I know that we got guys to, that really want to win and that really want to, they love competing. So that's the main thing. I just really want what I expect from the guys is just competing every single game. If things aren't going our way, to still compete until the final buzzer. So those are my main expectations. I mean, I don't have big expectations, just to always compete no matter what. So yeah.
Yeah, and we'll see how the rest of the semester goes. And even for this season, as you guys are now 2 games in, you had a very nice couple games there against Billings, and I believe it was also. Sorry, I'm butchering right now. You guys played. Who'd you guys play first game? Presentation College. That's right.
I myself.
Presentation and Billings, who you guys played, and you had yourself a nice couple games there. So yeah, we're looking forward to more men's basketball action, and hopefully to see you have some great success along the ride here. But we're unfortunately out of time. But thank you for coming in.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, and there you have it, folks. Again, that was Khari Broadway, a junior guard, a transfer from North Dakota State College of Science. Again, leading the team, averaging 15 points a game coming off the bench. When we come back, we're going to take it to a quick break. Jay Buchholz from the men's hockey team will be joining us again. Thanks to Papa John's for sponsoring the Inside the Dam podcast. Remember their MSU special, $7.99 large 2-topping pizza with a valid MSU ID, excuse me. Again, I am Cole Clementich. I'm sitting in solo tonight as some of the other comm majors are heading home for Thanksgiving. So you will get me again for the rest of the night here. But after this quick break, we will see you guys here momentarily with Jay Buchholz. Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Inside the Dam podcast. We thank Papa John's for sponsoring the show. Again, their MSU special, a large 2-topping pizza for $7.99, not just for students, but with anyone with a valid ID. We thank Admir and the gang for supporting the MSU Broadcasting Department and the Inside the Dam podcast in particular. As promised, folks, again, I'm Cole Clementich. I am riding solo tonight. All the other comm majors are out, heading home for Thanksgiving. And just a quick message for you guys. We hope you guys have a wonderful American Thanksgiving yourselves. But with that being said, from the men's hockey team, sophomore forward, also a Fargo ND native, Jay Buchholz joins us. Jay, thank you, as always, for making some time tonight, and talk to us a little bit about yourself.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and so you're a sophomore forward from Fargo ND, played for Fargo Davies High School, and you also played junior hockey for the Minot Minotauros. It's kind of interesting how student athletes, especially in hockey, they kind of have a different path to getting up to playing college athletics or even professional levels. So coming from Fargo Davies, obviously the eastern part of the state is a hockey hotbed for high school hockey, even with the UND Fighting Hawks as well. Kind of talk about your rise and your kind of really going off into playing junior hockey. How did that come to be?
Yeah, no, kind of like you said, Fargo is a huge hotbed for hockey, and I think it's kind of underlooked. Or Grand Forks is kind of overlooked it too, but Fargo and West Fargo and even Moorhead too, it's kind of grown over the years, and it's continuing to get better and better. But growing up in Fargo, I'd go to Fargo Force games probably a couple times a month.
The Force as well, yeah.
Yep, and so growing up, that's kind of where I wanted to be, and I kind of wanted to set a goal and be able to play juniors and eventually college. So just like I said, going to those games kind of pushed me to where I wanted to be, and being able to play for the Toros and now Minot State being somewhat close to home, it's kind of the best of both worlds. Yeah,
and you mentioned being close to home, with Thanksgiving going on this week. That's got to be a nice little trip there for you. Talk about some of that experience, playing with the Minotauros and some of your other junior. A lot of athletes, even for yourself, but talk about some of that experience, at least being able to get the chance to be recruited by a coach that and Coach Waslinchuk, and just talk about that familiarity and some of what has helped you get to this point at Minot State.
Yeah, no, definitely. It kind of feels like I played juniors for a long time and kind of everywhere. I played 3 years in almost 3 different cities for each year, but finally ended up in Minot my last 20-year-old year, and Coach Waz was the official assistant coach there, and he's a great coach and he knows what he's talking about. So unfortunately, after the way my 20-year-old year ended and didn't get a school that I would have liked to, I started working for a little bit, and I was almost talked to Waz like probably once a week just about playing hockey again, and I missed it a lot, and it was a really easy decision with Coach Waz being a head coach here at Minot State, and it was really hard to say no once he offered me a spot to come.
No, that's really awesome. And Coach Waslinchuk, he's a great coach to really play for. What have you learned from him, both from the Toros and from the Beavers, and just kind of what insight have you grabbed from him that has really helped you along in your hockey journey?
I think just the game in general. He is a goalie, so he has a little different point of view from coaching, but if there's tips he can give us with where to shoot on the goalies and maybe what the goalies are seeing, he brings that. And even just a personal level, Coach Waz, you can talk to him about anything in the world, if it's hockey related, personal stuff, or you just want to talk and have a conversation with someone, he's great for that.
No, great stuff as always. And I mean, one of the top-notch coaches on campus, and he was up for Coach of the Year for the BESPY Awards. And that was a cool experience. Got to be for him. And just kind of moving on here. So you're one of the athletes that didn't start right away in the fall. You came in as a spring recruit. So So kind of the unorthodox way to enter, but, still on track to graduate in the 4-year time span. Just it'll be in the winter, kind of with what was it like being able to join the team mid-season, heading towards the postseason run here. Just kind of talk a little bit about, how interesting did that get, or was it interesting at all, or guys are already focused on trying to win games. What was that experience like?
No, it was definitely different. Like I said before, I was working and just kind of taking it easy, and I was starting to watch Minot State, and I was following them on Twitter and seeing how they're doing, and I think they only lost maybe 1 or 2 games before I came, and I was a little nervous coming in at Christmas time, and everybody's on the team already, and they have their whole team, and other than that, no, all the guys, they welcomed me like just right in, and it felt like I was a part of the brotherhood right away. So I can't thank the guys enough for that.
Yeah, and talk about being welcomed with open arms. Not only did they really welcome you, but you also helped the team in a major way possible. 9 goals in the half season last year, so you were a goal scorer. Just kind of talk about a little bit of the role you played last year and a little bit of the start this year.
It's kind of different. I'm usually more of an assist guy, which this year it's kind of showing that. But last year, I got put up with a couple great line mates with David Sheldon and Josh Peterson. But it seemed like our line got to work right away, and especially when not knowing the guys as much, it helped a lot being able to produce and help the team win a lot. And even this year, I'm playing with a couple great guys, Sheldon Howard and Joey Moffat. Have some past experience with them playing in Canada. So, I don't know. We're starting off pretty hot right now, so hopefully we can just keep it up.
Yeah, you guys are still undefeated, if I'm not mistaken. So very good start. And like you mentioned, the assist numbers, you're at 6 goals and 13 assists now. So that number, like you mentioned, starting to kind of match up with what your game style is. But you're also named to an ACHA National Tournament honorable mention last year. Just kind of talk about, that honor, with only a resume of a half a semester or half a season so far, being able to accomplish that, how crazy was it?
No, it was kind of funny. I actually didn't realize that until maybe a couple months in the summer. I finally looked and saw my name up there, but that was cool. Obviously, only playing half a year and being able to be mentioned to that list, pretty cool experience. But in the end of the day, that's not the individual reward's cool, but in the end of the day, that's not what we were there for. And it was a tough way to lose that first round, but I think anybody on the team could have been put on that list for sure. And like I said, it's not really what we were there for, but I think we all know our goal this year.
Yeah, you said it best right there. There's 2 banners hanging up for a reason. There's a high standard for the team, and you're definitely putting your footprint on that, and you're definitely going to help the team, hopefully rolling forward here and hopefully ending off with a natty here pretty soon. But it's a good club to be on, and you're just getting started here, and it's looking pretty good so far. And just kind of also, we mentioned before the Minot Toros. I interviewed you once before. It was the night of when the first coronavirus case took place in North Dakota. That was kind of a dark time. It was the last day before everything just shut down. But talk us through some of your experience with the Toros. Just talk about the environment. Obviously, I think Shane Wagner was a part of the coaching staff. I don't know if Marty Murray was still there at that time, but talk some of your experience with the Toros and kind of some of the operation they have going on.
No, I had a great experience playing with them. It's a very well-run organization, from the front office, billet families, even the fan base. It's unbelievable, and I think it's probably one of the best in the junior hockey. But Marty Murray was the head coach my first year, and with Shane Wagner, and Coach Wazenchuk was the goalie coach at the time. And then the second year when I came back, Wagner was the head coach with Waz on the bench as well. But no, I was fortunate enough to play 3 years of junior hockey with all high-end, very good coaches who knew what they're talking about and who had very good resumes. And I feel like I learned a lot on how to play the game and being able to play the game the right way from all of my coaches from Portage, Minot, and Sioux Falls as well.
I'm guessing you've been to a few Toro games this season so far, or last season?
Yep, yeah, I've been to a couple. I try to make them out once I can, or once I have time. And I know a couple of guys on the team still. Joe Westland's there, and Trevor Stahoyak. So it's nice to see those guys play. And now those guys are kind of the big boys on the team, the 20-year-olds, and it's kind of cool seeing them grow up. I just kind of remember them as the young 18, 17-year-olds. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, and they're now leaders of the team, like you mentioned, and I'm going to take it a little off the ice here. And so now you're just about to get done with your first full year on campus, having started back last winter. But talk about a little bit of campus life. Like, what's your major? What do you do for certain classes? What are some classes that you take? And we had Khari Broadway on last segment. He said he takes some yoga classes to help kind of smooth his body out a little bit, kind of make sure he stays in shape. What are some classes that you take, and what's kind of a day in the life of Jay Buchholz?
So I'm going for business management. Kind of feel like I can do a lot of things with that major. Eventually, I kind of want to start coaching and maybe even running a hockey camp in the future. But other than that, right now I was kind of nervous going into school for a little bit. I've been out of school for about 3 years, not counting last year, but since juniors. And last semester, I wanted to take it a little easy, and then this semester as well, just kind of ease back into it. But taking a lot of basic classes. Obviously, we have workouts in the morning. I'm in class depending on the day, maybe 3 to 5 hours a day, and then practice, and then just try to have some free time and homework, obviously. But that's kind of the day.
No, that's really nice work there. Yeah, that's going to be – I like that mindset, kind of slowly taking everything as they go. And, that's kind of a good – not a bad mindset to have there, certainly. But, just kind of lastly here, we're almost out of time. But, so as you kind of start to insert yourself into school a little bit more, like you said – taking some time to, save a few classes or a few credits if you need an extra semester or a few extra months maybe to kind of, wait till graduation. That's always a possibility. But as you start to ease yourself into school, what are your expectations on the court, or not the court? I'm thinking of the old segment here. What are your expectations, on the ice and off the ice in the classroom? What are some things that you hope to accomplish here at Minot State?
Just obviously, but at the end of the day, get the diploma from Minot State. Obviously, schooling's a huge thing, and at this point, I know I'm not going to make it to the NHL, and I'm not going to be making big bucks playing hockey. But in the end of the day, you need that diploma to get a job in the future. So I think with what my diploma is going to be, like I mentioned, I kind of want to run a hockey camp in the future. So I think that could help a lot, and then with the experience of hockey, that'll help. And then I just think, like anybody else's goal on this team, win a national championship by the end of the year, and just keep playing strong, hard hockey and winning games throughout the rest of this semester. Then following next semester, just still playing a lot of hard hockey.
And maybe a possible job in the NHL someday. That's always a possibility as well. But Jay, we're out of time here. Again, we thank you so much for joining us today. And good luck on the rest of the season. And you guys are really killing it out there. A lot of great players, even like yourself. And wish you all the best as the season goes along. And hopefully for a third banner here coming up pretty soon. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
There you have it, fans, Beaver fans. That was Jay Buchholz, sophomore forward from the men's hockey team. Again, he's up there with 6 goals and 13 assists, really helping the team out there. And, played 3 years of junior hockey, even with the Minot Minotauros here in town. That is going to do it for our show, guys. Once again, Papa John's is the sponsor of the Inside the Dam podcast. Thanks again to Admir and the crew. Be sure, once again, to check out their MSU special, a large 2-topping pizza with $7.99 if you show your MSU ID, not just for students, but it is anyone with a valid ID. Again, this has been Cole Clementich with Jay Buchholz, Khari Broadway, and Cayden White. Again, I was flying solo tonight. All the other comm majors are busy or they're heading home for the Thanksgiving break. So you got to hear me all night. But of course, most certainly, the three great guests that we had on the show. This was our last one of the 22 fall semester. We will certainly be back for the 23 winter/spring semester. So we're going to be on a little bit of a long-ish break, but hopefully kind of late January, early February is what we're looking at for a return for the Inside the Dam podcast. But again, we thank you guys as always for watching or listening to the Inside the Dam podcast brought to you by Papa John's. Thank you to the tech crew that was able to help out this semester, and thank you to all of the other hosts that were able to take part in this adventure. Again, we are going to be back next semester with a new series. We'll continue on with episode 8, but again, I'm Cole Clementich. This has been episode 7 of the Inside the Dam podcast. Thank you guys again. We will see you in a couple months here.